The Galactic Academy stood tall and proud, its shimmering spires reaching towards the stars. It was the most prestigious learning center in the known universe, where the brightest minds from thousands of species came to study. Today, the Academy buzzed with excitement and nervous energy. A new species was joining their ranks, the infamous Deathworlders from a planet called Earth. In one of the Academy's many classrooms, a diverse group of alien students waited for their professor. Some had tentacles, others had multiple eyes, and a few even floated in the air. They all looked very different, but they shared one thing: curiosity about the newcomers. Zix, a blue-skinned alien with 4 arms, turned to his friend Gloop, a gelatinous blob with eye stalks. "Have you heard about these humans?" Zix asked, his voice a mix of excitement and fear. Gloop's body rippled as he spoke. "Only rumors. They say their home planet is so dangerous, it's a miracle they survived at all." A tall insectoid alien named Click-Clack joined the conversation. Her antennae twitched nervously. "I heard they eat meat. Raw meat," she chittered. The class fell silent as their professor, Dr. Xeno, entered the room. The old alien looked like a wise tree, with bark-like skin and leaves for hair. "Settle down, class," he said in a creaky voice. "As you all know, we have some new students joining us today. The humans from Earth have finally arrived." A wave of whispers swept through the room. Dr. Xeno raised a branch-like hand for silence. "Now, I know there are many rumors about these Deathworlders, but remember, we are scientists. We observe, we learn, and we don't judge based on hearsay." Just then, the classroom door slid open with a soft hiss. All eyes, stalks, and sensory organs turned to see the new arrivals. 3 humans walked in, and the alien students couldn't help but stare. The humans looked so plain. They had no tentacles, no extra limbs, not even a single antenna. Their skin came in different shades of brown, and they stood on 2 legs like many other species. But there was something about them, a quiet confidence in their movements, a spark in their eyes, that made the alien students uneasy. Dr. Xeno welcomed the humans warmly. "Class, please greet our new students, Alex, Priya, and Chen." The humans smiled and waved, causing some of the more timid aliens to flinch. Alex, a tall human with curly hair, spoke first. "Hi everyone. We're excited to be here and learn with you all." Priya, a shorter human with dark skin and a bright smile, added, "We've heard so many amazing things about the Galactic Academy. I hope we can all become friends." Chen, the 3rd human, nodded in agreement. His eyes scanned the room, taking in the incredible diversity of life forms. "This is even more awesome than I imagined," he said softly. As the humans took their seats, the alien students couldn't help but whisper among themselves. "They look so fragile," Zix muttered to Gloop. "How could they survive on a death world?" Gloop's body quivered with excitement. "Maybe they're stronger than they look. Did you see their teeth? Those are predator teeth." Click-Clack's antennae drooped. "I hope they don't try to eat us," she said nervously. Dr. Xeno cleared his throat, bringing the class to order. "Now then, let's begin our lesson. Today, we'll be discussing the various adaptation species developed to survive in harsh environments." As the professor spoke, the alien students found their attention divided between the lesson and the newcomers. The humans, for their part, seemed eager to learn. They asked questions, took notes, and even laughed at Dr. Xeno's dry jokes about cosmic evolution. Slowly, the initial fear began to fade. The humans didn't seem dangerous. In fact, they were quite friendly. By the end of the class, even Click-Clack was beginning to relax around them. As they packed up their things, Alex turned to Zix with a smile. "Hey, that was a great question you asked about atmospheric adaptation. Want to grab a bite at the cafeteria and talk more?" Zix's 4 arms fluttered nervously, but he found himself nodding. Sure," he said. "But you don't eat meat, do you?" Alex laughed. a warm sound that put Zix at ease. Sometimes, but don't worry. I hear the cafeteria has great options for all dietary needs. Come on, let's go. As the mixed group of aliens and humans left the classroom, chatting and laughing, Dr. Xeno smiled to himself. It was going to be an interesting year at the Galactic Academy. These humans might just surprise them all. The next day, news of the human students spread through the Galactic Academy like wildfire. Aliens of all shapes and sizes crowded the hallways, trying to catch a glimpse of the mysterious Deathworlders. The air buzzed with excitement and nervous chatter. Zix, Gloop, and Click-Clack huddled together near their lockers, watching the crowd. I can't believe we're going to have classes with them, Click-Clack said, her antennae twitching anxiously. Gloop rippled with excitement. I heard they're joining our xenobiology class today. This is our chance to learn more about them. As if on cue, the crowd parted, and the three human students appeared. Alex, Priya, and Chen walked down the hallway, looking around with wide eyes at the diverse alien life forms. The aliens fell silent, staring at the humans with a mix of fear and fascination. Suddenly, Chen tripped over his own feet. He stumbled forward, arms flailing, and crashed into a tall, tree-like alien. The alien's branches shook, and several colorful fruits fell to the ground. The hallway went dead silent. Everyone held their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. To everyone's surprise, Chen started laughing. He picked himself up and began gathering the fallen fruits. "I'm so sorry," he said to the tree alien, still chuckling. "I guess I was too busy stargazing to watch where I was going. Are you okay?" The tree alien blinked its novel eyes in confusion, then slowly started to laugh too. Its leaves rustled with mirth. "I'm fine, thank you. It's not every day I get to shed my fruit so dramatically." The tension in the hallway broke. Aliens started to laugh and chat, the earlier fear forgotten. Alex and Priya helped Chen hand the fruits back to the tree alien, and soon they were surrounded by curious classmates. Zix, emboldened by the friendly atmosphere, approached the humans. Hello, he said, his four hands fidgeting nervously. "I'm Zix. We met yesterday, remember?" Alex's face lit up with recognition. "Of course. Hey, Zix. Thanks for showing us to the cafeteria yesterday. The food was interesting." He made a face that caused Zix to laugh. Priya joined the conversation. "So, Zix, what's the xenobiology class like?" "We're a bit nervous about it." Zix's eyes widened in surprise. "You? Nervous? But you're Deathworlders. Surely our classes must seem easy to you." Chen shook his head. "Just because we come from a tough planet doesn't mean we know everything. We're here to learn, just like you." As they talked, more aliens gathered around, their curiosity overcoming their fear. They bombarded the humans with questions. "Is it true that your planet has giant creatures called elephants?" asked a small, mouse-like alien. "Do you really have oceans full of water?" inquired a gaseous being, its form shimmering with disbelief. "Can you really survive temperatures below freezing?" wondered a lava-based life form, its body glowing with heat. The humans answered each question patiently, their enthusiasm infectious. They showed pictures of Earth on their datapads, and the aliens crowded around, oohing and awing at the diverse landscapes and creatures. As they walked to class, Click-Clack hesitantly approached Priya. "Excuse me," she chittered nervously. "Is it true that humans eat meat?" Priya nodded. "Yes, we do. We're omnivores, which means we eat both plants and animals. But don't worry," she added quickly, seeing Click-Clack's antennae droop in fear. "We don't eat sentient beings, and we respect everyone's dietary choices." Click-Clack relaxed a bit. "Oh, that's good to know. I was worried you might try to eat us." The humans burst out laughing, and after a moment, Click-Clack joined in, realizing how silly her fear had been. As they entered the xenobiology classroom, Dr. Xeno smiled at the mixed group of aliens and humans. "Well," he said, his leaves rustling with approval, "it seems introductions are unnecessary. Shall we begin our lesson?" The class settled into their seats, humans and aliens mixed together. As Dr. Xeno began his lecture on interspecies communication, Zix looked around at his new human friends. He realized that despite their differences, they weren't so scary after all. In fact, he was beginning to think this year at the Galactic Academy might be the most exciting one yet. A week had passed since the humans arrived at the Galactic Academy. The initial excitement had settled into a comfortable routine, and the alien students were getting used to their new classmates. Today, however, promised to be anything but routine. It was time for the much-anticipated space biology lab session. As the mixed group of aliens and humans entered the lab, they gasped in awe. The room was filled with strange, glowing containers, each housing bizarre life forms from across the galaxy. Floating jellyfish-like creatures pulsed with bioluminescence, while crystalline organisms refracted light into dazzling rainbows. Dr. Xeno stood at the front of the lab, his leaves quivering with excitement. "Welcome, class, to our most advanced facility. Today, we'll be studying some of the most fascinating and dangerous life forms in the known universe." The students exchanged nervous glances. Even the humans looked a bit uneasy. "Now, don't worry," Dr. Xeno continued, noticing their concern. "All specimens are safely contained. We'll observe them from a distance." He gestured to a large, reinforced tank at the center of the room. It was filled with a swirling dark mist. "This," he announced dramatically, "is our star specimen, a void nebula devourer." The class leaned in, trying to see through the mist. Suddenly, a massive tentacle slammed against the glass, causing everyone to jump back. Several alien students screamed. Click-Clack's antennae went rigid with fear. To everyone's surprise, Alex stepped closer to the tank, his eyes wide with fascination. "Incredible," he murmured. "What does it eat?" Dr. Xeno blinked in surprise at the human's curiosity. "Well, in its natural habitat, it consumes dark matter and stellar gases. Here, we feed it a specialized diet of synthetic nebula essence." Chen raised his hand. "How big can they get in the wild?" "Some have been observed to be as large as small moons," Dr. Xeno replied, clearly pleased by the human's interest. While the other aliens watched in a mix of fear and amazement, the humans peppered Dr. Xeno with questions. They wanted to know about the creature's life cycle, its sensory organs, its method of propulsion through space. Zix leaned over to Gloop, whispering, "Can you believe it? They're not scared at all." Gloop rippled with excitement. Maybe this is why they're called Deathworlders. Nothing scares them. As the lesson progressed, Dr. Xeno divided the class into groups for a closer study of various specimens. The humans were paired with Zix, Gloop, and Click-Clack. Their assignment was to observe a cluster of space barnacles, small, hard-shelled creatures that could survive in the vacuum of space. As they worked, Priya noticed Click-Clack still trembling slightly. "Are you okay?" Priya asked gently. Click-Clack's antennae drooped. I'm just not used to being around such dangerous creatures. On my homeworld, we live in peaceful harmony with nature." Chen smiled reassuringly. "That's beautiful. But you know, even dangerous creatures have their place in the ecosystem. On Earth, we have animals that could easily kill us, but they're also crucial for maintaining balance." "Really?" Click-Clack asked, her fear giving way to curiosity. "What kind of animals?" As Chen described Earth's predators, lions, sharks, and bears, the alien students listened in fascination. They couldn't imagine living on a planet with such terrifying creatures. "But if Earth is so dangerous," Zix asked, "how do humans survive?" Alex grinned. "We adapt. We learn. And sometimes we stand our ground. It's not about being fearless. It's about respecting the danger while finding ways to coexist." As they talked, they almost forgot about their assignment. The space barnacles, sensing the students' distraction, began to stir in their container. Suddenly, one of the barnacles shot out a long, sticky filament. It wrapped around Gloop's gelatinous body, pulling him towards the container. Without hesitation, Alex grabbed a nearby tool and severed the filament, while Priya quickly sealed the container. Chen helped Gloop regain his shape, checking if he was hurt. The alien students stared at the humans in awe. They had reacted so quickly, so efficiently, without any panic. Dr. Xeno hurried over, alerted by the commotion. "Is everyone all right?" he asked, concern evident in his creaky voice. "We're fine, Professor," Alex reported calmly. "Just a small mishap. We've got it under control." As Dr. Xeno checked the containment and praised the humans for their quick thinking, the alien students exchanged meaningful looks. They were beginning to understand why humans were considered one of the most adaptable species in the galaxy. Zix, his forearms still trembling slightly from the excitement, turned to his human friends with newfound respect. "I think," he said slowly, "we have a lot to learn from you Deathworlders." The humans smiled, and in that moment, a deeper bond of friendship was forged, one that would soon be tested in ways none of them could imagine. The excitement from the space biology lab lingered in the air as the class filed into their next lesson. Advanced Xenotechnology. Professor Zixel, a tall, spindly alien with 6 eyes and tentacle-like fingers, greeted them at the door. "Today," Professor Zixel announced, her voice a melodic hum, "we'll be studying containment fields for dangerous space-dwelling organisms." The students exchanged nervous glances, memories of the Void Nebula devour fresh in their minds. "Don't worry," the professor continued, noticing their unease. "We'll be working with a perfectly safe simulation." As the class settled in, Professor Zixel activated a large holographic display. A swirling mass of tentacles and teeth materialized in the center of the room, causing several students to gasp. "This," she explained, "is a model of a stellar kraken, one of the most dangerous space predators known to the galaxy." The hologram moved with terrifying realism, its tentacles lashing out as if trying to grab the students. Click-clack chittered nervously, while Gloop's gelatinous body quivered with a mix of fear and excitement. "Your task," Professor Zixel continued, "is to design a containment field that can safely hold this creature. You'll work in teams. The winning design will be implemented in our real containment systems." The class broke into groups, with the humans joining Zix, Gloop, and Click-Clack. As they worked, Alex noticed a small blinking device on the professor's desk. "What's that?" he asked, pointing to the object. Professor Zixel's eyes swiveled to follow his gesture. "Ah, that's the hologram projector. It creates the stellar kraken simulation we're using." Curiosity piqued. Chen leaned in for a closer look. "Fascinating. How does it work?" As the professor began to explain, her tentacle fingers gesticulating excitedly, she accidentally knocked the device off the desk. It clattered to the floor, and suddenly, the room filled with a blinding light. When the light faded, chaos erupted. The holographic stellar kraken had become solid, its massive tentacles thrashing about the classroom. Students screamed and scrambled for cover as the creature's appendages smashed desks and shattered equipment. "It's real," Zix yelled, his forearms flailing in panic. The simulation became real. Professor Zixel stood frozen in shock. "Impossible," she whispered, her 6 eyes wide with disbelief. The stellar kraken let out a bone-chilling roar, its beak-like mouth snapping at the air. It began to ooze a corrosive slime that sizzled as it hit the floor, filling the air with acrid smoke. "Everyone out," Professor Zixel shouted, finally snapping into action. "Evacuate immediately." The alien students didn't need to be told twice. They rushed towards the exit in a panicked frenzy. But in the chaos, Gloop got separated from the group. The gelatinous alien found himself cornered by the kraken, its tentacles closing in. "Help!" Gloop burbled, his body rippling with terror. Without hesitation, the 3 humans sprang into action. Alex grabbed a broken piece of equipment, using it to deflect a tentacle that was about to grab Gloop. Priya quickly analyzed the situation, her eyes darting around the room. "Chen," she yelled over the commotion. "The containment field generator. Can you activate it?" Chen nodded, diving towards the device they had been working on earlier. His fingers flew over the controls, making rapid adjustments. "It's not powerful enough," he shouted back. "We need more energy." Priya's mind raced. "The power cells from the other workstations. Alex, help me gather them." As Alex and Priya dashed around the room, dodging tentacles and gathering power cells, Shen worked furiously to modify their containment field design. Zix and Click-Clack, who had hesitated at the door, watched in awe as the humans fearlessly faced the monster. "Almost there," Chen yelled, sweat beading on his forehead. "Just need to calibrate the field frequency." A tentacle lashed out, nearly hitting Chen. But at the last second, Zix leaped forward, using his 4 arms to deflect the attack. Inspired by the human's bravery, he had found his own courage. "Hurry!" Click-Clack chittered, her antennae quivering as she helped Gloop inch away from the kraken. With a final push of a button, Chen activated the containment field. A shimmering energy barrier sprang to life around the stellar kraken. The creature thrashed against its new prison, but the field held firm. As the dust settled, the room fell silent except for the muffled roars of the contained kraken. The humans, Zix, Gloop, and Click-Clack, looked at each other, panting and disheveled but alive. Professor Zixel emerged from behind her overturned desk, her eyes blinking in rapid succession. That was extraordinary," she said, her voice filled with awe and gratitude. As the reality of what just happened sank in, the alien students realized they had just witnessed something incredible. The humans, these Deathworlders, had not only faced a terrifying space monster without flinching, but had also saved them all. Little did they know, their adventure was far from over. The real challenge was yet to come. The containment field hummed ominously, barely holding the stellar kraken at bay. Its tentacles pressed against the shimmering barrier, searching for weaknesses. Professor Zixel's 6 eyes darted nervously between her students and the monster. "We need to evacuate immediately," she announced, her melodic voice trembling slightly. "The field won't hold forever." As if on cue, the containment field flickered. A tentacle slipped through, grabbing a nearby desk and crushing it effortlessly. Panic erupted once again. Alien students rushed towards the exit, their various appendages flailing in fear. But in the chaos, several of them got trapped in the far corner of the room, cut off from the door by the kraken's writhing mass. Alex, Priya, and Chen exchanged determined looks. Without a word, they knew what they had to do. "Professor," Alex called out, "get everyone you can to safety. We'll handle this." Professor Zixel stared at the humans in disbelief. But that's a stellar kraken. It's one of the deadliest creatures in the galaxy." Chen grinned, a glint of excitement in his eyes. "Ma'am, with all due respect, you haven't seen what lives in Earth's oceans." As the professor ushered the remaining students out, the 3 humans huddled together, quickly formulating a plan. "We need to distract it," Priya said, her mind racing. "Give the others a chance to escape." Alex nodded. "I'll be the bait. Chen, can you boost the containment field?" "On it," Chen replied, already moving towards the control panel. "But I'll need help. The system's fried." To everyone's surprise, Zix stepped forward, his 4 hands clenched in determination. "I'll help. I'm good with circuitry." Click-Clack, her antennae quivering with a mix of fear and resolve, joined them. I can assist too. My species has natural electrical abilities." Priya smiled at their alien friends. "Perfect. Let's do this." Alex grabbed a broken piece of equipment, waving it to get the kraken's attention. "Hey, ugly. Over here," he shouted, dodging a swinging tentacle. As Alex led the creature on a wild chase around the room, Chen, Zix, and click-clack worked furiously on the containment field generator. Priya, meanwhile, helped the trapped students find a safe path to the exit. Almost there, Chen muttered, his fingers flying over the controls. "Zix, we need more power." Zix stretched his 4 arms to their limit, rerouting energy from every available source in the lab. Click-clack pressed her antennae against the machine, channeling her species' natural electricity into the system. The Kraken, enraged by Alex's taunts, let out a bone-chilling roar. It smashed through desks and equipment, inching closer to the cornered students. Acidic drool dripped from its beak, sizzling holes in the floor. "Any time now, guys," Alex yelled, narrowly avoiding a tentacle swipe. Priya had managed to guide most of the trapped students to safety, but 2 remained: a plant-like alien whose roots had become tangled in the wreckage, and a crystalline being too terrified to move. Without hesitation, Priya rushed to their aid. She quickly dug out the plant alien's roots, ignoring the scratches she received in the process. Then, she gently but firmly pushed the crystalline alien towards the exit. "Go, go, go," she urged, shielding them with her body as a tentacle lashed out. Just as the Kraken was about to grab Priya, the containment field surged to life with renewed strength. The creature recoiled, its tentacles sizzling where they touched the barrier. "It's working," Chen shouted triumphantly. The stellar Kraken thrashed and roared, but it was no match for the supercharged containment field. Slowly but surely, the energy barrier began to shrink, compressing the creature into a smaller and smaller space. Alex joined his friends at the control panel, grinning despite his exhaustion. "Nice work, team." As the last of the students made it to safety, Professor Zixel re-entered the room, her eyes wide with amazement. The stellar Kraken, once so terrifying, was now contained in a shimmering orb no larger than a basketball. "Incredible," she breathed. "In all my years of teaching, I've never seen anything like this." The humans, Zix, and Click-Clack looked at each other, a mix of relief and pride on their faces. They had faced one of the deadliest creatures in the galaxy and emerged victorious. But as the adrenaline began to fade, a new realization dawned on them. The Kraken, though contained, was still very much alive. And now, they had to figure out what to do with it. Little did they know, their greatest challenge and most shocking revelation was yet to come. The Galactic Academy's main hall buzzed with excitement. Students and faculty gathered around the contained stellar Kraken, which floated ominously in its shimmering energy sphere. The Academy's board of directors had arrived to decide the creature's fate. Alex, Priya, and Chen stood with their alien friends, watching as the directors debated. The humans looked strangely calm, even excited, which puzzled their classmates. "What do you think they'll do with it?" Zix asked, his 4 arms fidgeting nervously. Click-Clack's antennae drooped. "They'll probably destroy it. It's too dangerous to keep around." Gloop burbled sadly. "What a waste. It's a magnificent creature, even if it is terrifying." The humans exchanged knowing glances. Alex cleared his throat, stepping forward. "Excuse me, directors. We have a suggestion." The hall fell silent. All eyes turned to the humans. "Instead of destroying the Kraken," Alex said, his voice clear and confident, "why don't we eat it?" A collective gasp echoed through the hall. The alien students stared at the humans in shock and disbelief. Even the directors seemed taken aback. "Eat it," Professor Zixel repeated, her 6 eyes blinking rapidly. But it's a stellar Kraken. It's not food." Priya stepped forward, her face serious. "On Earth, we have a saying, waste not, want not. This creature is a valuable resource. It would be a shame to destroy it without purpose." Chen nodded enthusiastically. "Plus, think of the scientific value. We could study its biology, its nutritional content. It's a unique opportunity." The hall erupted into chaos. Aliens of all species began talking at once, some intrigued, others horrified. "Silence," boomed the head director, the large, gelatinous being. When quiet returned, he turned to the humans. "Explain yourselves. How can you even consider eating such a dangerous creature?" Alex smiled. "On Earth, some of our most prized delicacies come from dangerous animals. Fugu fish, for example, can be lethal if not prepared correctly. But in the hands of skilled chefs, it becomes a gourmet dish." Priya added, "We've faced dangerous creatures before. Our ancestors turned threats into resources. It's part of how we survived on our death world." The directors huddled together, whispering furiously. The alien students watched in fascination, their fear slowly giving way to curiosity. Finally, the head director spoke. "Your proposal is unconventional, but given your recent heroics, we're willing to consider it. How do you propose to prepare this creature?" Chen's eyes lit up. "We'll need some equipment from the culinary lab, and maybe some volunteers to help." To everyone's surprise, Zix raised 2 of his 4 hands. "I'll help. I've always been curious about human cooking methods." Click-clack, emboldened by Zix's bravery, chittered nervously. I suppose I could assist too. My electrical abilities might be useful." Gloop wobbled excitedly. "Count me in. This sounds fascinating." With the director's hesitant approval, the strange cooking team got to work. They carefully transported the contained kraken to the Academy's culinary lab, a state-of-the-art facility designed to handle cuisine from thousands of different species. As they prepared, Alex explained their plan. "First, we'll use the containment field to, well, let's call it tenderize the kraken. Then, we'll carefully remove the toxic parts." Priya nodded, adding, "We'll use Click-Clack's electrical abilities to neutralize any remaining venom. Zix, your 4 arms will be perfect for handling multiple cooking tasks at once." Chen grinned, looking at Gloop. "And you, my gelatinous friend, will be our taste tester. Your malleable form should be resistant to any lingering toxins." The alien students listened in awe as the humans confidently divided tasks, turning a terrifying monster into a culinary challenge. They moved with a mix of caution and excitement, their earlier fear replaced by curiosity and determination. As the humans began their unorthodox cooking process, word spread through the academy. Soon, a crowd gathered outside the culinary lab, drawn by the strange sounds and exotic smells wafting from within. Inside, the team worked tirelessly. The kraken's tentacles, once so threatening, were carefully sectioned and seasoned. Its beak, filed down, became a unique serving bowl. Even its acidic slime was neutralized and transformed into a tangy sauce. Hours passed, and finally, Alex emerged from the lab, his face smeared with multicolored juices, but wearing a triumphant smile. "Dinner," he announced to the waiting crowd, "is served." The aliens looked at each other nervously. Who would be brave enough to try this unprecedented dish? And how would the Galactic Academy react to this shocking turn of events? Little did they know, this unusual meal was about to change their perception of humans and themselves forever. The Galactic Academy's grand dining hall had never seen a feast quite like this. Tables groaned under the weight of colorful dishes, all prepared from the once terrifying stellar kraken. The air was filled with exotic aromas that made even the most cautious alien's sensory organs tingle with curiosity. Alex, Priya, and Chen stood proudly at the head of the main table, their clothes stained with multicolored kraken juices, but their faces beaming with accomplishment. Beside them, Zix, Click-Clack, and Gloop looked both nervous and excited. The head director cleared his throat, silencing the murmuring crowd. "Students and faculty of the Galactic Academy," he announced, his gelatinous form quivering slightly. "We find ourselves at a most unusual banquet. Our human friends have turned a disaster into, well, dinner." He paused, his eyes scanning the room. "The question is, who will be the first to taste it?" A tense silence fell over the hall. The aliens looked at each other uncertainly, many of them eyeing the exit. Suddenly, Professor Zixel stepped forward, her 6 eyes blinking with determination. As an educator, she said, her melodic voice carrying across the room, it is my duty to lead by example. I will taste the kraken first. The crowd watched in stunned silence as the professor approached the table. Alex offered her a small plate with a piece of grilled kraken tentacle, garnished with a swirl of neutralized slime sauce. Professor Zixel's tentacle-like fingers trembled slightly as she picked up the morsel. She hesitated for a moment, then popped it into her mouth. The hall held its breath. Her eyes widened in surprise. Then, to everyone's amazement, she smiled. It's delicious," she exclaimed. "The texture is unlike anything I've ever experienced, and the flavor, it's indescribable." As if a spell had been broken, the other aliens rushed forward, eager to try the mysterious dish. Soon, the hall was filled with a cacophony of excited chatter and surprised exclamations. Zix took a bite of kraken sushi, his forearms gesticulating wildly as he chewed. "It's amazing," he said to Click-Clack. "Who would have thought a monster could taste so good?" Click-Clack, nibbling on a kraken kebab, nodded enthusiastically. Her antennae quivered with pleasure. "And to think, we helped prepare this. We faced our fears and created something wonderful." Gloop, who had bravely sampled every dish, was changing colors rapidly in excitement. "This is more than just food," he burbled. "It's a symbol of cooperation, of turning adversity into opportunity." As the feast continued, the aliens began to mingle more freely with the humans, peppering them with questions about Earth cuisine and culture. The humans, in turn, eagerly learned about the dietary habits and culinary traditions of various alien species. Priya found herself deep in conversation with a group of plant-based aliens, discussing the ethics of consuming sentient beings. "On Earth," she explained, "we have ongoing debates about this. It's a complex issue that forces us to think deeply about our place in the ecosystem." Meanwhile, Chen was exchanging recipes with some gaseous entities, trying to figure out how to adapt human cooking techniques for beings without solid forms. "Cooking is all about experimentation," he said enthusiastically. "Who knows what amazing fusion dishes we could create?" Alex, surrounded by a group of curious alien students, was regaling them with tales of Earth's most extreme eating challenges. And then, he said, barely containing his laughter, the guy tried to eat a ghost pepper whole. As the evening wore on, the initial fear and hesitation had completely melted away. The dining hall buzzed with laughter, animated discussions, and the clinking of utensils. Humans and aliens alike were bonding over their shared experience, finding common ground in their diversity. The head director approached the human students, his gelatinous form jiggling with what seemed to be approval. "You've done more than just salvage a bad situation," he said. "You've opened our eyes to new possibilities. Perhaps we've been too quick to judge species based on their homeworlds." Professor Zixel nodded in agreement. "Indeed, these Deathworlders have shown us that adaptability, creativity, and courage can turn even the most dangerous situations into opportunities for growth." As the feast began to wind down, Zix turned to his human friends, his eyes shining with admiration. "You know," he said thoughtfully, "when you first arrived, we thought you were the dangerous ones. But now I see that your death world didn't just make you tough. It made you innovative, brave, and kind." Click-Clack chittered in agreement. "You've taught us to face our fears, to think outside the box. Maybe we all have a little Deathworlder in us." The humans smiled, touched by their friend's words. They looked around the room, seeing not alien species, but fellow adventurers, all exploring the great unknown of the galaxy together. As the night drew to a close, one thing was clear: the Galactic Academy would never be the same again. The arrival of the humans hadn't just changed the curriculum. It had changed hearts and minds, paving the way for a new era of interstellar understanding and cooperation. And it all started with a stellar kraken and a very unusual feast.